Peace to the family. Back. The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction, episode 5. Man, so much to talk about. Not a lot to talk about, but man, I'm just happy to be here, man. And we just gonna get into the vibe and ride this cosmic wave. Make sure you got your nag, champa, incense lit because we definitely tapping in. I'm the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. And as people kind of file in, I'll just drop some announcements. Yesterday, me and Hancho put out the weekly Astro Chat. You know how YouTube don't like to promote videos, so if you got some time, be sure to check out that video. Be sure to check out, all the members of the set. Shireen dropping her one-page guide in reference to the astrologics. Be sure to follow her as well. The weekly Astro Chat. We do that every week, me and Hancho, and we really get into the deep aspects of the astrology. What else is going on? Tomorrow, I'm working on a Scorpio video, new moon in Scorpio coming out. I wanted to do this video closer to the new moon because the energy is gonna be crazy. So if I put out a video like 2 weeks ago, it wouldn't even matter right now, and it's gonna matter now. So we're gonna deal with it in the actual present. So other than that, man, I just been working, just been grinding, been doing a lot of readings, helping a lot of people out. And yeah, man, be sure to get up with me, www.hoodmystic.com. And so the truth is stranger than fiction. So far, this is episode 5. This is like pure channeling. This is pure like spiritual pointing out things, and I'm just kind of picking up stuff. And so if you're not really hip to popular culture, you might not understand what I'm talking about. But if you are, you might understand what I'm talking about. This might fill in some holes, but at the very, very least, this is just some new information for you to like kind of absorb. And so kind of bringing you guys all up to date. I'll do all of that, but as still people join the live, I feel like we're going to start off a little lighthearted and then tie into how the truth is stranger than fiction. So I'm going to start off with this little clip from this movie back in the days, Marlon Wayans and Shawn Wayans.
Maybe you did the right thing, letting him stay with us this weekend.
And then I'm going to tie it into an actual real life story that you wouldn't even believe it if I said it out of my mouth. But you know how the truth is much stranger than fiction.
Yes, I know.
Right. You want to know the nice thing about you not being pregnant?
What?
We get to keep trying.
Honey? What about the baby?
He's asleep. Don't worry about him.
About honey? He's watching.
He's too young to know what's going on for him.
Peace to the family. We just getting warmed up. The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction, episode 5.
Good morning.
More like great morning.
Oh, looks like someone had a really good night's sleep last night.
Who could sleep? You were an animal last night.
Oh, well, you
I
know.
don't remember the last time we did it twice in one night.
Twice? Hey, when did he get into bed?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how he gets out of that crib. Such a crafty little fella. You want some breakfast?
Twice.
So Little Man is about this story that they get like this little baby and the little baby ain't really a little baby, it's a grown ass person. And that's like a wild ass story. Like that could never be true, but lo and behold, I'm watching, this some shit just popped up in my timeline, man. And read this from October 10th, 2019, Lafayette, Indiana. A couple who says that the little girl they adopted from overseas is actually an adult who has threatened them. They're now charged with neglect for abandoning her. Yo, yeah. They're charged with neglect for for abandoning this little girl that they adopted, but she ain't a little girl, she a grown ass woman, man. So oh man, and I just, this don't got nothing to do with the bill. I just thought this shit was hilarious. But yeah, peace to the family. Let's bring us up to date. Last week, a lot of this information that I'm gonna talk about tonight is gonna tie in from the previous episodes, but a couple of things. We were referencing the Knights Templar and its pagan roots. We were referencing the designation and then also the pagan bloodline, okay? And if you need any information on that, be sure to check out episode 4. We were also dealing with in episode 3, fairy energy, twin energy, and also understanding that twin energy is kind of the root of a cult, the art of scapegoating, and understanding how to like transfer your energy, transfer your sins onto other people so you can live scot-free. And we see it all the time. And so in referencing the Knights Templar, we're also referencing today Miss Sister Knight. Now this actual build, unlike the other builds, is gonna be centered and focused on one person, one walking living human being, okay? And this living human being is Regina King, and how she embodies and personifies the Black Madonna. So when you reference the Black Madonna, I'm sure not a lot of people know what a Black Madonna is, but we're obtaining knowledge, we're obtaining wisdom, we're obtaining understanding, which means we're applying this knowledge and wisdom, which references Zig Zag Zig. So episode 4, we was talking about Zig Zag Zig, Zig Zag Zig, Zig Zag Zig, right? And so lo and behold, on episode 5 of The Watchmen, the very first scene of the movie, probably not the very first scene, but like the 5th or 6th scene, you feel me? Like the beginning, we got Zig Zag Records. and you got like kind of the clan or what have you, and Zig Zag Records. But we're going to talk a lot about episode 5, probably not a lot, but we're definitely going to touch on it. So in doing this research, I've been working on this video since like Sunday, adding stuff here and there. Certain stuff will pop up. I think one of the first things that we have to really understand is the modality of Gothic and how Gothic people think, and then understanding mesmerism and hypnotism. We see this a lot in Jordan Peele's Get Out. If you understand the main character, he was under some form of hypnotizing or something related to that. Just making sure it's coming through. Hopefully it's coming through. But yeah, so Jordan Peele had this version of mesmerism and this version of like hypnotism that the psychologist was doing on the main character, and within that it was distorting his image and distorting his energy, and these people would kind of take the people's energy that they hypnotized and mesmerized and would embody that. If you like watch the show, like the maid in Get Out was actually like the what was she? She was the grandmother, right? She was the grandmother. And so it was like the whole movie was them auctioning and buying and kidnapping people and then stealing their energy, so to speak. And that's very Gothic, that's very hypnotism, that's very mesmerizing, and it's a movie, but it's real life as well. If I could just read from this little article, I just find my space. So It went off. I wonder why. When you say it's off, do you mean it's just like circling or what? It's back on? Okay. Sorry for that. I don't know what that was about, but hopefully we back. And you know, this kind of conversation and what I'm about to say is like probably gonna piss people off, but that's how we do it. You know, specifically looking at the way in which Poyen's observation of hypnotized subjects or slaves. When you say it's off, do you mean it's just like circling or what? It's back on? Okay. I just heard myself. And his father's plantation led to the conclusion that spiritual freedom was attainable regardless of race. Previous scholarship has noted the way in which mesmerism led to formation of a white political unconscious that advocated for spiritual freedom over bodily freedom, creating a sense of unifying spiritual equality. The political function of mesmerism shifted the focus of public discourse away from systematic issues of race and equity and promoted the continued subjugation of black bodies. So, and the reason why I'm referencing goth is because the person who wrote Watchmen is named Alan Moore, and he's continuing the gothic tradition, that of people like H.P. Lovecraft. John is on the steps. H.P. Lovecraft and we lie. So people like H.P. Lovecraft, people like Stephen King, they have this gothic tradition where they make these horror characters. And if you ever kind of wonder like what this horror genre is about, like this, how they just keep making movies after movies and they just like major sellers, and it's like all of these scary characters or whatever the case may be. That's just a reference to horror and gothicism. You understand? That's really what they're doing. They're doing hypnotism and mesmerism and switching off energy. So when it references your energy, they want to make it scary, they want to make it murderous, and then after that they want to kill it. And so that's kind of what I feel like is happening with Watchmen. I'm watching it, but I'm not gung ho about the story, and I'm not sure that direction that they're going is that of a up and up. But in referencing this energy hijack, we're going to start with Oya. Now, Oya is an Orisha. Oya is the owner of the marketplace. So in The Watchmen, Sister Night, Angela Abar, Regina King, she owns a restaurant called Milk in Hanoi. And Milk in Hanoi, Hanoi is a city in Vietnam that's supposedly where she's born. And so what's interesting, she's the consort of Shango. And if you pay attention to like the news and things like that, Shango has been in the news, right? Right. So, you know, as far as Oya and Shango, all of these types of things, uh, Wale is Shango in the New American God. So that energy is now coming online. And if you're going to talk about Shango, you got to talk about Oya. But back to Oya, back to Regina King, back to Angela Abar. And and even though she has a business that she's running, right? She owns a bakery called Milk and Hanoi. She also is a fighter. She'll whoop somebody's ass. You know, she's like very fierce. So Oya is she wields lightning and rides winds into battles, often lighting with her machete side by side with her favorite lover Shango. Oya raises armies of the dead as her soldiers and is said to use the tornado as her weapon. Oya's Ashe is fierce, tumultuous, changing, and protective. So like she's ride or die for her family and the Watchmen. She's like super like she can fight. Like she's just bad. You know, she's a good actor too. You know, like she's fainting and she's like a detective. She's a sleuth. She's like all of that in this show, or she's depicted to be like all of that, and so she's really representing the energy of Oya. So in this show, you know, is you know we have Shango, Oya Shango, as we referenced, but in this show she has actually a husband, and so this is her husband, Mr. Cow, and Cal is actually Dr. Manhattan. That's an exclusive. So he's tying into the ODB energy, the Krishna energy, the blue man, aka the black man. But you would have to listen to episode 2 to get the full background on Dr. Manhattan. But in a nutshell, Oya deals with windstorms and tornadoes. So the irony of episode 5, it was actually called Little Bit of Lightning or Little Fear of Lightning, and it was centered around this character right here. His name is Wade Tillman, and his superhero name is Looking Glass. So we'll tie into that. But he's been in the show the whole time though. He's wearing a damn tornado hat, and he relates to Angela Abar because at the beginning of the movie, she wants her damn nostalgia pills. And nostalgia pills are some pills that she got from her grandfather. And these pills have her grandfather's memories, but she doesn't know that. And he doesn't know that, but he's trying to get the information from his wife, who is working in a damn factory that deals with twins. And twins are they're special to Oya, okay? Twins matter to Oya. I'm gonna just show you if I can. It allow me. Let me see. When Oshun ejected her twins, the Ibiji, out of her house, it was Oya who took in the Ibiji and raised them as her own. So even in the show, Sister Night has children that are not her own. They were her partner's children that got murdered, and she ended up taking care of her children. So with that being said, all of this energy is aligning up to Oya being Sister Night. And then of course they have to have the particular vessel to embody the Oya energy, and that would be Regina King. And you can tell that Regina King, just by her name alone, represents the Oya energy. And if you don't see that clearly, I'll continue to show you different things and show you like, damn, this is kind of crazy. I didn't know that. But back to Looking Glass. Looking Glass. Looking Glass lives in fear. He lives in fear of a psychic attack. And so this whole episode 5, he's trying to, you know, process his fear and process everything that he's going through. And he has an epiphany moment, and he decides at the very end of the movie to turn in Sister Night. So these two are closely related. So Looking Glass within itself, and so Looking Glass is afraid of a psychic attack, which is ironic because there is an actual project Looking Glass that exists. And it is I don't know if you guys are hip to QAnon, but you should be, and then the Deep State Temporal War. And so I'm gonna just, you're gonna have to look into this yourself, but I'm gonna just kind of tie into some things that I want to kind of really show you what time the dead is. That's what my uncle used to say. Basically, psychics were placed in the Montauk chair and were in this way able to peer into different historical periods to gain information of interest to their military intelligence handlers. So basically, they would hijack psychics, they would kidnap psychics and put them in this particular chair, and they would want to know about the future. They would want to know about different events, past, present, and all these different points in between. All of this ties into the moment that we're living in now, because this actual project was old. It's not nothing recent. The Montauk experience the experiment was in 1992. Here we are in 2019, and the actual thing that the psychics couldn't see past was 2012. Let me see if that's in here. That's not in here, but in doing research on Project Looking Glass, they couldn't see past 2012, and basically what the psychics were telling their military handlers was that people are going to be waking up around that time, and they'll no longer be able to be suppressed. The information is going to be out there. They're just going to know a lot, and because of that, that's when they started to create this censorship, and censorship is what's really holding us all back from being able to really be awakened to information, because now on your social media devices is much more controlled as it used to be. But before that, as this information, we're having this conversation right now, and the powers that be wouldn't want us to have this conversation. I know this because of the demonetization and the internet bullying and the shadow banning that I experienced on my channel. So in that attack on psychics, that's what's happening. You might think that is racist and that is just against black people, but it's more against this particular energy. But the idea is that the energy is stronger than any type of censorship or any type of negative thought or psychic attack that could be sent your way. It's just the idea that you don't know who you are. So let's get into this conversation and exploring the Black Madonna and Oya. So let's backtrack to Oya real quick. Ooh, Our Lady of Candlemas, Saint Teresa. This is the syncretized Catholic saint to Oya. So what we need to understand about syncretism is that when there is primal ancient energy, the Catholic Church can't just be like, all right, I'm about to do an Oya ritual tonight because I need to, do some war stuff. What they would do is venerate Our Lady of Candlemas or Saint Teresa and, utilize that energy in that fashion. But there's a reason why it works for them, and it could work for you because this energy is abundant and it's unconditional. The idea is that we just don't know and we just don't deal with the saints. And I think a reason because of that is because we don't know what saints are. In reference to the orthodoxy, we say we're not orthodox. We're not a part of the Vatican. We're not a part of the church. But then if I call you a demon, you say, I'm not a demon either. I'm not that. But then it's like, well, what is the context of a demon? What's the context of an orthodoxy? You have the papacy, who creates the rules, and anything outside of those rules, you become a heretic, you become evil, you become something that, should be demonized, and this is very damaging. This is very hurtful because we're talking about spirituality. We're talking about real live energy. And it's like you have to say it in a particular way, i.e. Kanye West, or you'll be completely blackballed. And that's unfortunate. But we have solutions today. So how I'm thinking about how I want to approach this. So we have Angela Abar so far in the show. She's from Saigon, Vietnam. And Saigon, Vietnam, we can connect that to the Shampas or Nag Shampa. We could also connect that to her being a nun. So her name is Sister Night, and she wears a black robe, and she wears like the rosary beads, and she attacks people with like rosaries. Like she's a straight up nun, but she's in all black. So if you put two and two together, you come up with the literal meaning of the Black Madonna. But Saint Teresa, or the Virgin of Candelaria, is popularly called La Morenita, celebrates the Virgin Mary on the island of Tenerife, one of the Canary Islands of Spain. The center of worship is the city of Candelaria, Tenerife. She is depicted as a Black Madonna. Okay, so if you're wondering how we got here, this is the Virgin of Candelaria, Saint Teresa, and Oya syncretized Catholic saint is Our Lady of Candlemas, Saint Teresa. So we ain't went nowhere. We're still in the same zone, and she is a Black Madonna. Okay, so a Black Madonna. Why is that important? So we have Oya, Black Madonna. Let's see if we can find a connection to where we are in the Americas. The cult of the Virgin of Candelaria swept America due to the immigration of Canaries. I didn't know a lot of Canaries came to America. That skipped my peripheral view, but I guess maybe you a canary and you just don't know it. That could be a possibility because they not giving you the tribal information, the particular set, the particular islands, the particular lands that you came from when you were here, if you even were shipped here. If you are going to have the theory that you were shipped here, that's cool, but where were you shipped from? A lot of you guys were shipped from the Canaries. And this is why the veneration of the Black Madonna is so prevalent, even if you know it or not. But let's deal with it why we're here. Syncretism. Now, syncretism is when they take primal energy and they put Catholic material over it. They put Catholic names, Catholic mythologies, tie in their brother-in-law, their sister-in-law to your ancient energy. But in the search of finding true energy, we got to get beside of, I'm sorry, Virgin of Candelaria, it ain't for you today. This ain't your day. They worship you whenever they want to. But right now I feel like talking about Chaksaratsi. I feel like talking about Oya. I feel like talking about Oshun Ibu Kale. The mother of the gods, the beginning of life. This is deeply celestial and deeply powerful, because one could think that God is some vague mystical concept that you can't really pin down, right? Or one could view themselves and their counterparts as God. Imagine if you never were taught that God was some vague, mysterious thing. Imagine if you were taught or had the knowledge or the upbringing that you were actually God and you had these particular abilities. But then when we reference psychic abilities and psychic powers and things like that, it's like, oh, you jumping off the ledge, brother. That's a little too deep right there. I don't know about all of that. you know, shout out to Pachimama. What's that movie in Hawaii with Pachimama? Ah, my kids watch it all the time. But that's what we referencing. We referencing the mother of the gods, Chaksarachi. You feel me? But let's deal with it in a straight line so we can get some understanding of this. All right, Tanit. Tanit didn't look like this. This is a copy. But let's keep going. Let's keep going. Because Tanit isn't the energy that we want to get stuck with. We want to go deeper. And where do we go? We can go to Egypt. We can go to long after the fall of Carthage, Tanit was still venerated in North Africa under the Latin name Junu Caliestis for identification with the Roman goddess Juno. The ancient Berber people of North America also adopted the Punic code of Tanit. In Egyptian, her name means the land of Neith. Neith being a war goddess, her symbol, the sign of Tanit, is found on many ancient stone carvings, so forth and so on. So Tanit is actually Neith. So let's get into some Neith, some neat things about Neith. How'd y'all like that joke? Good, bad? Gotta work on it. Gotta work on it. So if you want to learn about Neith, that should be your responsibility, but I'm here to like really resonate on particular information and tie it into Regina King, so you could do that as well. But Neith, above and beyond her being a war goddess, because you know that's easily to get people dismissed. Y'all want the lovingly beautiful, you know, you want the sex goddesses, you want the love goddesses, you want to just be happy in life, you know. But when it comes to war and protecting yourself in this vicious and dirty ass world, you don't want to touch it. So, you know, that's why probably this energy goes over your head a little bit. Unique goddess, mysterious and great, who came to be in the beginning and caused everything to come to be. The divine mother of Ra, who shines on the horizon. Shout out to Joseph Nash, because I posted, you know, the preview on my Facebook page, like I'm going live tonight, talk about this, and he came through like, man, I loved her since 227. And you know how my mind be, 227, what do that got to do with anything? You feel like 227, what's the gematria on that, you know? But Regina King, lo and behold, her first television experience was on the show 227 from 1985 to 1990. 227. So we got to do the numbers on that to see if it's tying into Neith, because we want to keep her in the forefront. So 227, the meaning of that is the beginning, even, for, from, hitherto, now, old, since, then, time, when, yet, like it's the beginning. But then it can mean like a whole bunch of things, like in the beginning of time, the beginning of my meal, but I had to start it. But the start could also be the beginning. Start, like, so you understand how words and different meanings can have different variations. But if you kind of understand that the beginning and where it starts at, that's the gematria for 227. That's not even a gematria. That's the lexicon Hebrew concordance. Didn't do the gematria on that. Might have to come back to that. But so we got Regina King in 227 representing the beginning, and then so you go from Tanit to Neith to Oya. It can get confusing because I'm talking about a whole bunch of different names, but we're talking about cultural implications of the same energy. In one neighborhood is going to be this, in another neighborhood is going to be that, but it's the same damn thing. So if we don't understand what that same thing is, then you probably stuck in, well, that ain't Oshun, that's Oya, or that ain't Oya, this, that, and the third. Like, spirituality really don't work like that. And you don't even understand what they even talking about if you viewing them as people, because it's actual personifications of actual things that we embody in this living world. And if you allow me to keep going forward, I'm gonna have to keep doing so. So she's in the show Watchmen. She's a perceivable African American woman, whatever that means, and she's actually born in Vietnam. But when you reference Vietnam, I always go to the Shan people. If you don't know about the Shan people, that's why I feel like these shows is very important, because they get you in tune to things that you might have not known. In Vietnam, the civilization of the ancients was called Champa. We know very little of its ancient history, but by 400 AD, Champa, basically, this is what the Vietnam War was about. And if you watch The Watchmen, read the comic, or watch the movie, Watchmen movie, it's all about tearing Vietnam down to shreds. And what were they tearing down to shreds? They were tearing down these statues. Now, as I'm going through this, I'm just recollecting some notes, and I don't remember where I found them at or anything related. But I know for sure that a lot of these statues were torn down because of the Vietnam War. You could do your Googles on that. But Nag Champa, and this is kind of the roots of that Vietnam thing. But give me another. When you reference melanated people, if you call us African American, you're not even saying nothing, because that ain't even how you identify a person. You either identify a person by their tribe or their country. And the last time I checked, Africa was a continent. So when they reference the Vietnam energy, you got to go back and do your history on Vietnam to get in contact with the Champa or the Nag Champa. And so you can understand what the Naga, which is the cobra, and the Champa, which is the breath or the spirit. And a lot of it is the dragon breath or raising of the Kundalini. And the chakras and raising up your Kundalini, they actually enlighten you to superhuman strength and power, and doing all types of feats that you never thought you was gonna do. But you understand that this thing is internal, it's not external. It's not about how much money you have. It's really about how much internal work that you do. And not it and it should be a form of balance between money and internal work. You shouldn't be a person that's all you do is internal work, but you shouldn't be a person that's all about the money. Figuring out that balance, figuring out how to raise your Nag Champa. Because once you reach that Nag Champa, you reach the level of, tapping into the mother of gods. And we got a long road to travel, so let's just get there. I'm bringing up the Virgin of Candelaria one more time because we want to talk about the Guanches and Chaxarachi. So this actual statue was so-called found by some Guanche herders and took into this particular church, and then they changed it over to Christianity and made it a Christian statue, and then people started to worship it let's just break it down. Shoot. At first, the Autochtons, which just mean the indigenous Aboriginal people, identified the statue with their goddess Chaxarachi, the mother of the gods. But later, the Christian conquerors imposed the idea that the statue was that of the Virgin Mary. Like, you should be really like, that should at least I can only speak for myself. When I read that, right, at first the indigenous people identified the statue with their goddess Chaksarachi, the mother of gods. But later, the Christian conquerors imposed the idea that the statue was that of the Virgin Mary. So how you just going to change the whole name around, the whole mythology around, to make it be the Virgin Mary and to make it be something that is really not? That within itself is particularly evil, but me speaking against that, I'm the evil one. So Milk in Hanoi, that's the store that Angela runs, but it's a play on words, right? Because Milk in Hanoi, that sounds like Hanoi is a city in Vietnam, but Milk in Hanoi sounds like milk and honey. Milk and honey is really the Milky Way. Okay, so let's go through this so we know who we're talking about. The Guanches were the original habits of the Canary Islands. In 2017, the first genome-wide data from the Guanches confirmed a North African origin and that they were genetically most similar to the North African Berber peoples. So I know a lot of people is going to be like, North African Berber peoples, what are they talking about? That's even the wrong page, huh? I can Google search. Just do Moore's Wiki. You don't even gotta get no big, you don't even got to get the Black's Law Dictionary for this, people. Okay. The term Moors refers primarily to Muslim inhabitants of the Maghreb, Iberian Peninsula, Sicily, and Malta during the Middle Ages. The Moors initially were the indigenous Maghrebin Berbers. Okay, so Guanches, Berbers, Moors. Okay, and then the land of milk and honey. Okay, what are they talking about? They're talking about the ecliptic. They're talking about the land flowing with milk and honey. They're talking about the Milky Way. The shining band of the Milky Way and its manifestation in the sacred texts and traditions around the world. Okay. Around the world, the Milky Way in the heavens, from the lower gate between the constellations of Scorpio and Sagittarius, the energy that we in right now, all the way up to the upper gate located near the sign of Gemini, from whence they descended into incarnation again. So if we're going to call Oya the one who sits on the thresholds or the one who sits on the gates, she's literally the one who stands in front of the Milky Way. And it's all astrological, it's all cosmological. You just might not fully get it yet, but give me 1 second to, we got to walk down this path if I can find it. Okay. I know how to get there. So we go to Chaksarachi, is a goddess known as the Sun Mother in the religion of the Aboriginal Guanche inhabitants of the Canary Islands. So we go here. Get there. Don't worry. I gotta show you this. It's a lot of, let's go. I was in the right place. I was in the right place. I just didn't see it. Okay. She was associated with the star Canopus. She was associated with the star Canopus. So let me start back. Charatsi is a goddess known as the Sun Mother in the region of the Aboriginal Guanche inhabitants of the Canary Islands. So how did we get here? We got here from the Virgin of Candelaria, which is syncretized with Oya. So in Cuban Santeria, the Virgin of the Candelaria is identified with Oya as well as Oba. She's also identified as Chaksarachi. I just like saying that, I'm sorry. Chaksarachi was one of the principal goddesses of the Guanchi pantheon. She was associated with the star Canopus. Canopus, what's so special about Canopus? If this star is close to the Milky Way, I'ma know something. Not only is it a part of the Milky Way, Canopus would have been one of the luminous stars in the Milky Way galaxy. So literally the brightest star in the Milky Way galaxy. It is also referred to by its Arabic name given by Islamic scientists in the 7th century. The Spanish Muslim astronomer Ibn Rushd went to Marrakesh, Morocco to observe the star in 1153, which is invisible in his native Al-Andalus. He used the different visibility in different latitudes to argue that the earth is round, following Aristotle's statement, which held such an observation was only possible if the earth was a relatively small sphere. I don't know how he did that or how far is that, because this nigga's right now to tell him that the earth is flat. But I'm just referencing all of this to say this star within all cultures except ours, because astrology is fake, but everybody's spiritual, right? But then nobody want to talk about astronomy. Even more so that people would talk about astrology and don't talk about astronomy, or talked about fixed stars and how they're present in ancient cultures. But I'll continue to be the weird one. The name Canopus is a Latinization of the ancient Greek. I don't even know why I read that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got on cannabis. Canopus or cannabis, the rapper or the weed. I'm confused at this point, but it's everywhere, man. To anyone living in the northern hemisphere but far enough south to see the star, it served as a southern pole star. This lasted only until the magnetic compasses became common. So before compasses existed, the ways of how we got around was based upon this star Canopus, basically. And so if it allows me to get around and back and forth, of course I'm gonna venerate it and worship it and call it, you know, a star, or not even a star, or a goddess, and all of these different things, because it's actually helping me in my life. But since you guys have these compasses, you got your cell phones, you got your computers, you got your baby daddies and your baby mamas, so nobody's interested in, you know, spiritual technology. It's all about real technology. So if you want any more information about North Africa, the Berbers or Moors, be sure to check out episode 4. Now, episode 3, however, we talked a lot about fairy energy, Harriet Tubman. Lo and behold, Hollywood executive reportedly suggested Julia Roberts play Harriet Tubman. And of course, this was on every blog site. Everybody shared it. Everybody got a good laugh. But I'm thinking how I'm thinking. I'm thinking like they really tried to, you know, tap into the fairy realm and the fairy energy. Cause it could have been like Sandra Bullock. It could have been a host of people, but I feel like because it was Julia Roberts, it tapped into a specific frequency. And if you're not hip to that frequency, based upon episode 3, figuring out where Harriet Tubman was actually buried at and how that particular burial site connects to fairies, and then understand the fairies and how they connect to the phoenix, because you don't watch Maleficent, you watch Empire or Power, right? I'm the crazy one. The interesting thing is that you can't spell royal without Oya, so keep that in mind as we touch back on Regina King. But for right now, we're just gonna look at this Julia Roberts thing. Julia Roberts was a fairy in 1991 in the movie Tinkerbell. Not the movie Tinkerbell, the movie Hook. She was a real live Tinkerbell, real live fairy. But she was also in a movie called Mirror Mirror. So what we talking about here is Julia Roberts, twin energy, her being a fairy and a queen, Tinkerbell, but she's also the queen in Mirror Mirror. And Mirror Mirror is about an evil queen, which is Julia Roberts, steals control of a kingdom, and an exiled princess enlists the help of the 7 resourceful rebels to win back her birthright. So the movie's called Mirror Mirror, which is a looking glass, which is actually Project Looking Glass, and the actual character where you're a psychic being, but you don't know that. And a lot of times your psychic nature was suppressed in you because there was a point in time, if you were psychic, they would kidnap you or they'd kill you or they'd burn you at the stake because they were extremely jealous of your psychic abilities. And they'll call you black, they'll call you African American, they'll call you everything. They'll call you everything under the sun. They'll call you God, but they'll never really allude to you having psychic abilities and developing them unless you're using them for their particular system. But in order to rise out of this, to get back your birthright, you have to enlist the help of the 7 dwarves. I know this sounds crazy. I hear what I'm saying. What you mean I gotta consort the 7 dwarves to win back my birthright? Now you just sound crazy. I get that. But if you don't understand that the 7 dwarves is the 7 chakras, and Snow White is just, what do we reference Snow White and the prince as? Yo Pendigala and yo Indigala? I don't, that masculine and feminine force. The prince kisses Snow White, or is that Snow White or Sleep? Oh, I'm thinking about Sleeping Beauty, but I'm sure it's a prince in Snow White too. I'm pretty sure, but sure somebody's getting married some at the end of it. If you have a movie where at every ending of the movie you're getting married, do you think that's a love story for you to actually go out and just fall in love with somebody, or they're telling a larger, deeper story? And if they're telling a larger, deeper story, do you know it? And if you do know it, how can you apply it in your life? If Snow White and the 7 dwarves and Sleeping Beauty and, the apple and getting kissed and waking up Sleeping Beauty, but Beauty is Tippereth and Tippereth is your heart, and it's all Kabbalistic, it's all Hebrew, it's all ancient origin stories. None of these people are creative. They just study mythology and remix it and flip it. But then you understand, okay, what's mythology? Mythology is the study of your body. And if you don't study your body, if you don't know your body, then you don't have no ability to tap into your powers. You just this weak, senseless person trying to make money so you can feel better about yourself. And you know nothing about yourself. But if you watch the Snow White and you watch fairy tales, you really close. You closer than somebody who don't, pretty much. And so I just really want to focus on one point. It's a long synopsis to this movie. I'm so happy I got this summary. One sentence: win back her birthright. Win back her birthright. So what Julia Roberts does, she steals the kingdom, and then it's up to Snow White to restore her birthright. But you can't spell royal without Oya. So once you deal with the 7 chakras, you deal with the 7 dwarves. The 7 dwarves actually rescue and restore that birthright. And if you think you're talking about 3 midgets, you missed the fucking point. You missed the point. It don't got nothing to... Apologize if I'm being politically incorrect, but I meant no disrespect whatsoever. But it's not physical, it's spiritual. So Regina, Latin, literally queen. Literally queen. Okay, we back to Regina now. Regina, literally queen. Like, why is her name Regina King though? Like that, like if you don't sit and think about that for a second, And think about 227 and then think about Friday. I think that was Friday, or sometimes I get Friday and Poetic Justice confused. Maybe she wasn't in Friday. Maybe that's Nia Long. But maybe she was in Friday. Maybe she was just in, maybe she was in Baby Boy. Like Regina King could have been in, she could have been in Boys in the Hood. I don't even know if she was in Boys in the Hood, but I can just, like, it's certain Menace to Society. I just see her in all of those movies. You feel me? Like, but then you see her name and it's like literally Queen. Move in a straight line. To direct in a straight line. So I'm making a bold statement. I'm saying Regina King is Oya. You like, what you mean? I'm gonna just say it right here. Regulus, discipline, structure, focus, straight line, move in a straight line. What does Oya do? She walks the line between the living and the dead and is the gateway of communication for those looking to reach their ancestors who have passed. Now, you would literally think, okay, I gotta do an offering to Oya, I gotta get me some berries, and which is perfectly cool if that's your tradition. But if you wanted to go a little bit deeper, her walking the line is literally walking the ecliptic of, I'm gonna show you. I can show you better than I can tell you. This is the line. This is the line she walks. Okay, this is the line between our world and our ancestors. You see all of that energy that represents the Milky Way, because you can't really see the Milky Way from Ohio. You would have to be in a particular spot, and I mean, you could see it from the internet. You feel me? But you know it's there. If you've been in particular spots and places, people have seen it. They bear witness to the Milky Way. But it's a long ecliptic from Gemini between Scorpio and Sagittarius. And so Gemini represents the twin energy, and Oya getting the gifts from the twins and adopting children, but then having a birthplace at a cemetery or a graveyard. You think you talking about an actual cemetery and graveyard. Now you somewhere defiling people's graves, looking stupid, looking dumb, thinking that you got to go to an actual graveyard. And this is the graveyard right here. Okay, I'm sorry, but maybe y'all just got a little too deep when you didn't even get deep at all. You accepted information on face value instead of asking the root of it. Because whatever's being presented to you, it has a source. No matter what movie you watch, no matter, my wife, I'm sure I get on my wife's nerves because I'm constantly breaking shit down, constantly pinpointing shit. I can't even watch shit to enjoy it no more because they literally trying to mind control the people. And it's all walks of life. You know, you can talk about this in all different types of realms, but right now, talking about Regina. So, Rajni, another word for Regina, which is Sanskrit, a queen, the wife of a king, okay? A queen, the wife of a king, Regina, king, okay? That's her name. Like, I'll be trying to think, like, is that her real name? Regina King? Maybe, I don't know. That's a hell of a name though. Regina King, like name of the Western quarter, the Western world where we reside at in these 50 states. The name of the wife of the sun, which ties into, let's go back because we can, because y'all would think that I'm crazy and talking mess. Let's just go back. I know the way to go now. I think I know the way to go. I don't think I'm gonna get lost this time. Doing too much. She got too cocky. Back. Chaksarachi. You knew I had to throw it in. You knew I had to throw it in. You knew I was gonna throw it in. one more time. Cha- Again, Chaksarachi is a goddess known as the Sun Mother. Okay, Rajni, Regina, the name of the wife of the sun. Now, Chaksarachi, being the Sun Mother, shouldn't be the reason why you name your daughter Regina. That even shouldn't be the reason. You shouldn't do this much research to even name yourself this. So what I'm saying is that I'm sure everything that happened in the frame of this naming and coronation process, the birth process, was a pure channel from the divine. And all of these things that come into alignment is just by pure coincidence. But as we referenced in episode 1, there is no such thing as a coincidence. There is just specific message that the creator is sending you, and the creator representing your own soul, because you are the creator that you are out there praying to and worshiping. Regina got a tattoo on her forearm, and it is of Hey Hey Ain. Hey Hey Ain. I know I ain't saying that right, but we're here now. The 12th name in the 72 name of God chart, He He Ain. Meditation means unconditional love. Like attracts like. By emulating the Creator's unconditional love for all humankind, you bring love into your own life. By emulating the Creator's unconditional love for all humankind, you bring love into your own life. And so, I'm going to digress for a second, because in referencing the Black Madonna and referencing the Virgin Mary, you know, like, they have particular ways that they bless people or whatever. But I'm like, well, why would the Virgin Mary be so venerated and so powerful now, even though it's been hijacked? And, you know, all of these bad stuff is going on in the world. Like, won't it help us out? Then I have to regress and go back to this quote. Because as I'm talking, I'm thinking, right? Talking and I'm thinking. Because I'm live, you know. Been a crazy journey to get to this place, but we here now. Like attracts like. So if I'm actually seeking out the Black Madonna, then she would bestow upon me unconditional love. The problem is that I don't particularly seek unconditional love. I don't necessarily know that unconditional love is my birthright because I'm a creator. I may think that creator exists outside of me and I'm waiting on him to save me. What we doing here? They do attach demons to this, and so I'm gonna be a little loose with this, because in reference to demons, like I said, demons are just what the Catholic Church says is bad. That's no good for the establishment, so we're gonna literally demonize it and make it bad. So attached to the Kabbalistic language and the formulations, I'm still doing my own particular test to see its potency, its negativity, its positivity. So in referencing the Kabbalah, I would say I'm a literal scientist in the lab. I don't know how these things are going to manifest. I don't know how these things are going to work out, but yet and still I'm working with it. So we going to do some work with Ayin, okay, and get back to it. But as we seen, the Goetia demon is Sitri, and the demon Sitri is a fallen angel and 12th of the 72 spirits of Solomon. Sitri is a great prince who appears first with a leopard's face and griffin wings. He then assumes the shape of a beautiful human He then assumes the shape of a beautiful human. I'm gonna just stop right there. Have a little break.
Alright, you bitches! So I have to come give you bitches this push. Bitch, my Regina King, bitch. This is a push, bitch. You know what, bitch? They got a warrant out for your arrest. But these bitches still ain't cuffing you, bitch. This is a push. You know what, bitch? These bitches must have stepped in poison ivy. Cause they itching to be like you, bitch. This is a push. You know what, bitch? My mama said the air conditioner turned all the way down. But you still got these bitches hot mad. This is a push. You know what, bitch? These bitches ain't coming for you. Even if they was on their way, bitch. This is a push. You know what, bitch? They say age ain't nothing but a number. So, what's your contact information? This is a push. You know what, bitch? You coming for blood. Like a transfusion, bitch. This is a push. You know what, bitch? Charmin Ultra need to cut the check. Cause you stay on these bitches' ass. This is a push, Regina, bitch. Continue to push.
That's a beautiful human. But heresy is the life of a mythology, and orthodoxy is the death. Quote by Joseph Campbell. So, in referencing particular energies, particular godlike energies that exist on the planet, you have to get outside of heretical thought, demonized thought, because there's so much powerful energy available to you. You're just super scared of it because you don't understand. So if I told you the beautiful goddess of life that comes with light raining down nothing but flowers and prosperity in your life, you'd be like, yeah, let me buy a bag of that. That's the shit that I want. But if I'm like the warrior protection fierce goddess that, you know, comes with a sword and bringing tornadoes and storms, then you like, well, Hood Mystic, I don't know about that. Is you okay, brother? Like, you know, you need some help? You depressed? And I'm like, man, you really don't understand what I'm trying to say. You don't understand. So let's just deal with what I'm trying to say. We gonna finish it up. We gonna do it for the family. We gonna do mother, son, and then we gonna do mother, daughter. All right, because this is what we talking about. We trying to tap into unconditional love, and I've been really like coming up with content, but I've been in the same space of channeling Krishna, man, and got me, you know, changing the way I think about life, you know, as I stand. But let's deal with the backstory. King, Regina King, and her only son Ian, which is a variation of John, it's the Irish version of John, just throw that in, got a matching tattoo of their 3 letters right before she took him to college. We considered different ones, she said, but we felt this really embodies how we feel about each other. How do they feel about each other? How does a mom feel about her only son? I don't know. No. Either. So we're just gonna deal with some things. This is the Chartres secrets, the Charter secrets, the Black Madonna of Chartres, and the secrets of it. God's energies of unconditional magnetic love and unceasing electric light by others. Unconditional love, heightened energy. These energies of the spirit enable pilgrims to witness healing miracles in their lives. Accordingly, the symbol of this Black Madonna had been associated with the benefits that Earth, our mother, could give with the unconditional love she had and continues to have for all her children. The presence of a feminine representation in a place such as Chartres, where the powers of unconditional love have manifested themselves for pilgrims coming in devotional visits, is meaningful. It can also be felt how the figure of the mother reflects the healing energy of the spiritually powerful place where Chartres Cathedral has been built. However, the mystery of the black color of this Madonna and the others found worldwide remains intact for quote unquote experts. Despite numerous studies, iconography, English ain't my first language. Ebonics is. Iconography specialists have been able to piece together that riddle in order to give a complete and satisfying answer to the question. And yet, the color black chosen to depict the Madonnas was deliberately chosen. It was chosen to reflect a knowledge possessed by ancient ones, but which assailed by inquisitions, censorship, and spiritual slumber. Man, y'all gotta feel me on this, man. Y'all gotta share this video. Y'all gotta like this video. Y'all gotta sit and think about this shit for a second, man. You just gotta sit and think like everything you know could be a lie. You feel me? Especially when you reference in the color black. And yet, the color black chosen to depict these Madonnas was deliberately chosen. It was chosen to reflect a knowledge possessed by ancient ones, but which assailed by inquisitions, meaning they'll just kill you if you didn't become a Christian. That's an inquisition. Censorship, meaning because I ain't saying stuff like hunky dory. Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube page. You want to do something stupid and corny? Ha 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 ha. Because I want to speak about things that are important to me and my family, I get censored. And spiritual slumberness, spiritual laziness. This is everybody. I don't gotta do nothing. I'm spiritual. I'm spiritual. I'm God. I'm this. I'm that. I did this. I did that. But we don't know shit. We still don't know shit because we dealing with the mystery. Okay? So if the mystery don't light a fire in your ass, trust me, nothing will. And the reason why you relax and cooling because you just comfortable with not knowing shit. And that's cool, but just admit that, okay? Don't come around talking about that you're spiritual, but you're also lazy because I'm doing this because there are questions and there ain't no answers. So I'm trying to formulate answers because based upon y'all, I just can just wake up out of bed and just be spiritual and just be magical. And maybe, but I feel like it's some effort into this shit. I don't think that this shit is about laziness. But slowly began to dissipate in the expansive reservoir of the mysteries and even ended up feeding the most fundamental of humanity's fears. The color black has always been used to represent unconditional love. So we started off this conversation talking about the Knights Templars and Sister Knight and Regina King and Oya and blah, 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 blah. But with a personnel tour within the heightened energies of unconditional love of the Knight Templars, Black Madonna. So her presence at this location is a beginning. Her presence at this location is a beginning. I'm gonna just have to show y'all because I know it's people that's new to this live and we here now. But let's just do this real. People that have been rocking with me, they already know, like, man, that shit crazy. Where's we at? 227. 227, y'all. Beginning. Her presence at this location is a beginning. Then we have ETH. Unique goddess, mysterious and great, who came to be in the beginning. So we got beginning, got beginning, got beginning. Let's just show love, man. Let's just show love. Unconditional. One time. First television show. 227. So 227, beginning, 227 meaning the beginning. The Black Madonna represents her presence at this location is a beginning. True knowledge about why the Knight Templars had a special reverence for quote unquote Our Lady is so profound that we feel only a personal experience enables one to unravel this secret on the site. In the Chartres with the personnel tour, ain't nobody about to, that ain't the only way that a person can tap into this energy. As you can clearly see, we tapped into this energy by DNA. Ancestral memories are a priceless source of information that may be used to enhance one's personal connection to heightened electromagnetic energies of God through the sons of God. And so with that, using knowledge, they resurrected with the Ark of Covenant. The Knight Templars built a monument made to uplift one by reminding humanity's priceless spiritual heritage. Okay. DNA link of humanity with the ancient ones. Okay. Ancient ones knew that the most powerful energies from God came from the galactic Son of God, our center of the Milky Way. Accordingly, the making of deities in the black energetic image of God has been reflected in spiritual artwork worldwide, in pictures of Vishnu in India, paintings of Isis in Egypt, and the famous Black Madonnas of Europe, including the energetic Black Madonna located in the Knights Templar constructed Chartres Cathedral in France. Francais, my nigga. That's it. If you still want to be silly about this, and continue to be silly, I'm done. I'm not going to be silly about this. And so I'm about to show this clip. So imagine doing all this research, right? And then I seen this 2019, she got accepted for Best Supporting Actress award. As soon as I clicked the damn video on, I got emotional. And it was like so powerful, but I'm gonna end this video. I'm gonna just kind of tie in a couple more things
here because I'm an example of what it looks like when support and love is poured into someone. Mom, I love you so much. Thank you for teaching me that God is always has been leaning in my direction. Gamosis. They'll ask me about that later.
I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask about gamosis. What's gamosis? Gamosis is the formation of patches of gummy substance on the surface of certain plants, particularly fruit trees. This occurs when sap oozes from wounds or cankers as a reaction to outside stimuli such as adverse weather conditions, infections, insect problems, or mechanical damage. It is understood as a plant physiological disease. Pine tree symbolism. Protection and immortality. So pine trees are special trees. All the trees are barren and empty. The pine tree is green, and whenever the pine tree has a particular problem, like cut open or something happens within the shit happens, it produces a pine sap. And this pine sap, you know, the sap of a pine tree has been used for thousands of years to treat all sorts of illnesses and ailments. Healing with pine was particularly helpful to some Native American tribes who popularized the pine sap as a medicine among the colonialists that arrived to the continent. Pine sap, according to Native American traditional medicine, can also bring wisdom and patience to someone lacking either both. It can also serve as a source of protection against negative energy. So, gnosis in that is what happens when you get attacked. And what produces is a sap. It's a our body has these chemical changes to prepare ourselves for particular events. And sometimes, you know, trees, pine sap is very healing and therapeutic, but to get it from a tree, you have to kind of hurt the tree, because gnosis is like, as we read, is identified as like a disease, like not good for the tree, but such is life. But then, you could go on and on about the pine cone being a center for being a representation for the pineal, and utilizing that pineal is how we're able to have this conversation today. If we didn't have active pineal glands, a lot of the shit that I would be saying, like if you play this video for somebody who got a closed pineal gland, they gonna be like, what the hell is he talking about? It's gonna just be so hard for them to digest. And you like, well, this shit making perfect sense to me. Why can't you seem to get it? So that pineal gland has to be open and release that sap throughout the body, but you can't release that pineal gland without doing the work. So just the opening of the pineal gland ain't enough. It's the cultivation, it's the buildup. It's a lot. But as always, the truth is stranger than fiction. You don't remember nothing. Understand that you can't spell royal without Oya, and Regina is literally the queen. Okay, literally the queen of the kings. Okay, be sure to donate to this channel. All of this work, all of this research, it don't come free. So it don't matter if you do or you don't. But if you can, please do. If you can't, share this video, like this video at the very least. But me, I'm constantly working, constantly building. About to finish up on this Scorpio video and be back with you guys tomorrow. Yeah, so much to talk about that you gotta break this up in different days, but I hope y'all was able to pull from this video. Let me know what y'all think. Yeah, man, peace to the family. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you.